We were waiting just for you to arrive. Now that you're here, we can get started. If you guys would like to maybe gather around and come a little bit closer. Just so that you know, it might seem to you as though we've got a very small group of people here, but just so that you're on your best behavior, for the first time ever, we are actually live streaming this event to our member base across Southern Africa. So that's why you see the camera there, and I say hello to those of you that are joining us on the live stream to be part of CFA Society South Africa's annual meeting of members. It's wonderful having those of you in the room with us, but certainly also welcoming all of those that are not just elsewhere in South Africa, but certainly in Southern Africa. We have members across Zimbabwe, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, even in Malawi, and a few members, I think, in Tanzania as well. So it really is wonderful to see this community of ours meeting on a virtual basis like this as well. Tonight is really an evening of celebration, and we're going to be having some bubbly in a bit because we've got lots to celebrate when we look back on the year in review, 2017-2018. But before we get to the fun part, there's just a couple of formalities that I need to just deal with. For those of you that have attended our annual meeting in the past, you might be more familiar with an AGM, an annual general meeting, and might wonder what is the difference between an AGM and an AMM. Why are we having an annual meeting of members? So one of the things that CFA Society South Africa went through in the past year was that we had to do quite a thorough review of our bylaws and our memorandum of incorporation to ensure that it is actually in compliance with the Companies Act in South Africa. And this was quite an extensive legal process. It is currently still in the final stages of that review. And one of the things that came out of that process is that in order to call a meeting an AGM, there are certain quorum requirements, there are certain formal requirements around that, and that we cannot really do that until such time as we've adopted the new MOI, until we've adopted our new bylaws and so on. So we saw that as a wonderful opportunity for us to get together to celebrate and really just celebrate, I think, so much that we've got to be grateful for, but also that we're very proud of what we've achieved. So in the past, we had things like, for example, the approval of the financial results. We had the approval of the new board members that came on board, a couple of statutory requirements like that, which we will not be doing tonight, but I wanted to just share with you why we are not doing it at this stage, and just so that you appreciate that we are in a transition phase, and that once we have adopted our new memorandum of incorporation and our bylaws, things will look different from next year again. So that brings me to really my privilege of sharing with you my report, the President's report for the 27-2018 year. And I'm particularly proud to say to you that tonight, those of you that are here in the room will be receiving a copy of our first ever published annual stakeholder report. And for those of you that are joining us on the live stream, you will be pleased to hear that this report is already on our website and therefore for all to see. This really is a publication that incorporates so much of what we were able to achieve in the last year. We will also be using this as a document to reach out to our stakeholders, to really celebrate what we've achieved, but to raise awareness of what we've achieved as CFA Society South Africa. So please feel free also to share this document with those that work with you, with those that you deal with in terms of clients, regulatory interactions that you might have. I really do need to thank, and I'm going to be thanking Linda a lot tonight, but Linda Hawkins really who took a great idea from Nigel Suleiman, our Vice President, and really created what we see in print here tonight. So it is a wonderful achievement. I'm just going to take you through some of the highlights of the year in review. This was my first year as President of CFA Society South Africa. It's been my privilege to lead the society. And you know, really our focus in the last year has been on three major, if I can call them strategic initiatives, but areas of focus. The first one really to focus on developing and make more aware the value proposition of being a member of the society. And member value comes in many shapes and forms, and for different members it means different things. You will see a lot of that celebrated in our stakeholder report, but for us really to quantify and tangible show the member value for our members has been one of our key areas of focus over the last year. The second component was to really raise not just the awareness of the brand of CFA, the designation, the professional designation, but also the society and the institute, to raise awareness and really to enhance the desirability of the designation of CFA, obviously also in service to our members and all of you out there. But the third one also was for us to really look at our governance structures as a board. We have grown significantly as a society, and the governance requirements around a society such as ourselves has become a lot more demanding than it has been in years gone by. South Africa, the South African society, is the fourth largest CFA society in the EMEA region. And as such, with close to 2,000 members where we stand now, we really are a significant player, and we need to now, we're 17 years old this year, and it's about time that we start behaving like an adult, I think. But with all the responsibilities that go with it, but also all of the rights that do go with it. So I'm going to just briefly touch on the three major pillars that CFA Institute also, how it structures itself in terms of its mission of what it wants to achieve in the global investment community. The first one really is about building future professionals. And of course, for many of us, what we would be most, or for many people, what they would be most familiar with is the CFA exam, the qualification. And I think for many people, it was seen as just that it is just a qualification. But of course, we know that it is so much more than that. But around our efforts in terms of building future professionals in the investment industry, I think one of our major achievements over the last year, and one that we as a society are extremely proud of, has been our Africa Outreach Program. And in this instance, I specifically would like to thank Dane Morkel, our board member, as well as Tata Mashigo, who's recently also joined those efforts, and certainly the executive office, in what has become quite a major way for us to in person attend or visit our different countries where we've got membership, and in particular assist the candidates in those markets to help them prepare for the exams and really create a sense of community in those as well. So for those of you that are online from some of those markets, I know that Tata has just returned from Zambia. Him and Lucille from our executive office just over the last weekend were actually up in Lusaka doing exactly that, running a prep course for the first level 1 candidates, had member engagement, and it's wonderful to be in touch in person in those markets, and we look to be doing a lot more of that in future as well. Another major feature of our Preparing Future Professionals is with our Universities Research Challenge. It is one of the flagship events on the global calendar for CFA Institute, and South Africa has got a long and proud history in terms of the Research Challenge. And later on, when we look at our volunteer awards and recognition of our volunteers, you will notice that that is one of the areas in which most people are involved, or where we've got the biggest contingent of volunteers being involved in that. It means us really being in touch with universities, with faculty staff. It is about mentoring the different university teams. It is the graders that actually look at the written reports and evaluate the written reports that these universities produce. It's about the judges that actually evaluate their presentations that they do. And over the years, that particular event has become a major source of almost recruitment for some of the companies that are looking at the best of the best in terms of the university students being involved with the CFA Research Challenge. So it's something that we're really proud of in what we've been able to achieve. Earlier this year, also, Jenny Henry, one of our board members, also was invited to be one of the judges on the global final of the Universities Research Challenge, and she represented South Africa very proudly there. So not just from the perspective of students and candidates, but certainly also from a grading perspective. We have also, for the first time this year, been able to include a university from outside of South Africa's borders. And once again, this is going to be a major area of focus for us as we expand the footprint into second-tier universities as well as universities outside of South Africa. So certainly something to look forward to in the year that comes. CFA Institute has designed a program, an education program called CFA Investment Foundations. Some of you might be familiar with it, but not everybody. Some of you might be aware of the term Claritas, or the name Claritas, which was the name under which it was originally presented. This has evolved into CFA Investment Foundations, and I'm very happy to say that CFA Institute has now not only made the full curriculum of the CFA Investment Foundations course completely free of charge and available to anyone, but they have now even made the qualification, writing of the exam for CFA Investment Foundations, completely free of charge as well. That will kick off from February next year, and I think it provides us an incredible opportunity, not just as a board of the local society, but certainly all of us in the profession already, to really use a high-quality education program to address what I believe is one of the biggest challenges in our industry, and that is the information asymmetry between the investment professionals and the likes of trustees and investors. So this is an area of focus for us in the new year, where you will see a lot of initiative around raising the awareness of this quality program that is really available free of charge for anyone who wants to do that, and really level the playing field, I think, in terms of terminology, in terms of how we approach the basics of investments. The second major pillar of the CFA and their initiatives sits around member value. So that's for each of us that have already got the qualification, that are in our careers, that are working on this. And I think one of the important messages that we need to get across is that CFA is not a qualification. CFA is a professional designation. Much like you would think in terms of the medical fraternity, where achieving your medical degree is a really long and hard and difficult haul, your career as a doctor does not end the day when you get your qualification. That's actually when it starts. And it's exactly the same in the life of a CFA charter holder. What you achieve when you get your charter is not the end of the line. It's the start of a lifelong journey. And therefore, our focus is increasingly on the continuing professional development of our members, assisting them in their careers, assisting them also with soft skills training, with career development, with job opportunities. And for those of you that haven't seen it just yet, on our website, we now have full access to global jobs being offered to CFA charter holders around the world. So not only do I want to encourage you as members and as CFA professionals to visit that, because we certainly don't want to lose any of you, but I certainly would like you to encourage your employers to make use of this facility. It is an opportunity for them to advertise roles within your company in a global jobs portal, completely free of charge. Now, there's a major benefit, I think, for the employers as well. So that's an area where we've certainly done a lot in terms of member value and member development. Our investment conference has really become one of the flagship events for us on our calendar. Melville du Plessis, who heads up, one of our board members, who heads up our conference committee, has really put in a lot of good work in terms of that, and we look to grow this even further. In the last year, in 2017, 2018, we put up not just one, but we actually put two conferences together, and it's really because we've changed the date of our conference, and in future you can expect this to always take place in the second half of July. This coming year, our conference will be on the 25th of July here in Johannesburg, so you can start diarising that. The early bird opportunity to register for the conference will be going out quite soon, but for us that is an important component in the way that we actually provide member value. And probably, I guess we're all a little bit quantitative, we're all about the numbers as well. The most tangible manifestation of member value is that the discount that CFA South Africa Society members receive for our annual conference is more than your annual membership dues. So if you ask me what value am I getting for my membership, well, just come and attend our conference and you will already have achieved the rand value back of your membership in terms of that. Women in investment management is a major theme for CFA Institute, and certainly for us here in South Africa as well. So for those of you that did not attend our first conference in this past year, you might not know that we were able to put together a conference where the entire speaker lineup was female. And I think one of the big kicks that I got out of it personally is that it took people quite a while before they realized, oh, but speaker after speaker after speaker is actually female. Because the speakers were not selected for the fact that they were female. They were selected because they were excellent speakers and accomplished professionals in their fields. The fact that they happened to be all of the female gender was really just a bonus. And I think it was wonderful for us to be able to demonstrate the depth and the quality of females in the South African investment industry, and to do it in this particular way. So certainly something that is a flagship for us in the past year. But it is an area where not just gender diversity, but certainly diversity in general will remain a major area of focus for the board. There's a wonderful saying that sort of differentiates between diversity and inclusion, because diversity, unfortunately, is not sufficient. We cannot only focus on diversity. It is the inclusiveness of the diversity that is so important. And the demonstration of that, when someone was asked what's the difference between diversity and inclusion, the answer was that diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is when you actually get asked to dance. So we look forward to having a broad and diverse, engaged membership who will all be invited to dance along with us in the year ahead. Technology has really become the most important way for us to engage our very broad geographic footprint of members. From the Institute side, the member app has become a great way for them to share educational content as well as notification of events, signing up for events and so on. And if you haven't downloaded the member app just yet, I really would encourage you to do so. There's a great source of educational content, and it also records your CE credits for you automatically if you actually read or read articles or watch some of the videos or engage in the blog on the member app, and it's a great way for you to get your CE credits automatically. But from a domestic perspective, or from South Africa's society perspective, we are increasingly using technology, just like we're demonstrating tonight with the live stream that we've got here. But we've also started to introduce a lot more online content and events. And Tata Mashigo, as head of our technology committee in the prior year, introduced the technology for us to actually be able to host webinars. And so we now have a monthly event called Wednesday Webinars at 1. If you haven't attended one of these webinars just yet, I certainly would encourage you, the last Wednesday of every month at 1 o'clock. I guess we'll probably won't do December, hey Tata, unless we do that from the beach somewhere. But yes, certainly a great way, not only for those of you here in the room, but once again, our members also in other countries outside of South Africa to participate in member events and in educational events in particular. I think another very tangible demonstration of member value was another initiative that one of our board members, Dane Morkel, was able to put in place for us in the past year, and that is that South African CFA charter holders, members of the local society, are now ex officio commissioners of oaths. So if you are here tonight and you are a CFA charter holder and you are a member of the CFA Society South Africa, you are also a commissioner of oaths, which means that you're allowed to administer oaths, you're allowed to certify documents. Not sure that you want to broadcast that too broadly within your firm. You might be called upon to come and give your stamp lots of times. But I think in an environment where the requirement for that is quite big for us, it's a great tangible way of demonstrating the quality also of the designation that we've got, that by legal decree we are now ex officio commissioners of oaths. So Dane, thank you very much for your work in terms of that. I think you can either thank Dane or be upset with him. You choose. Right, the third pillar, I've spoken about building future professionals, delivering member value, and the third pillar for CFA Institute is about the market integrity and really sort of building and strengthening the market in which we operate from a regulatory and from an ethical perspective. We do quite a bit in that field as well, and I think one of our great achievements of recent years is the Financial Mail Young Analyst of the Year Award. It's something that we've been doing for the last 3 years. As many of you might be familiar with the Financial Mail Analyst Ranking Award, but as CFA Society, we are specifically not just sponsoring the Young Analyst of the Year Award, but we get actively involved in evaluating those reports. So just in a nutshell, analysts under the age of 30 are encouraged to submit reports that they've done in their work environment over the preceding year. These are submitted anonymously, and volunteers from CFA Society South Africa then evaluate these reports anonymously and identify in 2 categories the best young analyst reports. And there's one is the equity category in particular, and then there's another category for non-equity, which encompasses quite a broad range of things. Jenny Henry, once again, was in charge of organizing the volunteers who did that, and we've had amazing feedback from employers in terms of the gratitude, I think, for recognizing these young analysts. And I can just tell you that from the graders' perspective, they often comment that they can't believe that these are actually young analysts or junior analysts. The quality that comes through in terms of these is just astounding. So a wonderful initiative that we're very proud of. We also focus a lot on collaboration. We certainly don't believe that we are the only people who can do what we do in this industry. And there are many other industry associations also that have got a lot to offer to the finance and investment industry. And we're very proud of our collaborative efforts with many of these. We've certainly done great work with APSIP in particular in the last year, the Actuarial Society as well, the Investment Analyst Society, ACISA, the list goes on. We have been collaborating broadly, and we will certainly continue to do so. But if there's one area that I believe differentiates CFA professionals from other industry professionals, it is our ethical underpin and our ethical stance. And so our former president, Philip Bradford, has been qualified as an ethics trainer and is now able to actually offer ethics training workshops to industry professionals, companies, to boards of trustees, pension funds, and has been doing so. So this is an area that I think we will try to focus a lot more on, because it is something that really differentiates us from the rest. And one of the things that we are keen to introduce in the new year is an ethics challenge, similar maybe to the research challenge, but instead of offering this amongst university students, is to focus on investment professionals and say, let's run an ethics challenge and actually exercise our moral muscle memory. So watch out for that one in the new year as well. Finally, then, from a governance perspective, for the first time this past year, we actually had a full complement of 12 board members. Our bylaws allow for 12 board members, and in the past we've never been able to get 12 board members together. It is a significant commitment of time and energy. You will appreciate that we are all doing this as volunteers. We are not paid for this. Our reward comes in the difference that we can make in the industry. So I'm particularly grateful that I had 11 other extremely capable and enthusiastic and energetic board members to be on this journey with me over the last year. And tonight it would be remiss of me not to thank in particular the 3 board members that stepped down at the end of our financial year, at the end of August. Philip Bradford, our former president, Ingrid Vermeulen, as well as Marco Evstathio. Marco, I'm going to get your name right one of these days. Marco Evstathio. And I'm very pleased to welcome 3 new board members that joined us as board members on the 1st of September this year. Caroline Creeman, Lungile Lavuno, and Razia Ghani. Razia is one of our board members who's based in Cape Town. And it's wonderful that we once again have a full complement of board members for the year ahead. And I think the last thing that I then need to thank people for is our sponsors. We have wonderful support from industry, and without them we certainly would not be able to do what we do in our industry. So many of the companies, I'm not going to mention them now by name, they're all in our stakeholder report, but we do thank them for what they do for us. And you know what? The heart and the soul, but also the bricks and the mortar of this organization is our executive office. And so Linda Hawkins, our executive officer, you probably need to stand up, Linda. We can't see you. She's our real pocket rocket. And Lucille Smith, it's amazing what these two ladies do. We know that we are severely understaffed. We expect way too much from you guys, but watch the space. We're going to give you lots more support in the year ahead. So thank you very much for being here with us tonight. It is a celebration, and we're going to move forward to the year coming ahead rather than just the year in review. And I'm going to ask them to bring us some champagne, because this is now where the celebration starts. I'm sorry for those of you that are not online. Maybe get yourself a glass of water or bubbly or whatever you've got on hand to join us. But it's time for us really to now focus on the year ahead and what we expect to be doing in 2018 and in 2019. So I'm going to get on with that while they bring us the champagne, so we've got it for when we get to our actual awards as well. But you know, the financial year 2019 already started for us on the 1st of September. And we are particularly pleased with an incredible event that we were able to hold in October when Paul Smith, the president and CEO of the CFA Institute, joined us, visited us here in South Africa. We put together a Future of Finance event that really was a workshop for 50 industry professionals, senior professionals that were invited to come and participate in a workshop under Chatham House rules to really focus on the Future of Finance initiative. This builds on something that the CFA Institute introduced a few years ago, where it really is about how to best design the future that we want, that we desire, and certainly that our society needs from our finance industry. And I'm very, very pleased to tell you that the outcome of that event, it was not just a talk shop. This is supposed to be a do shop, and therefore you're all going to get some homework. You will see, once again, those of you that are here tonight, that we've published a little booklet called Let's Measure Up in 2019, and it is a list of all the action items that came out of this workshop, recommendations and suggestions by participants in the workshop, and it's really grouped under 4 specific topics. The first one being the investment firm of the future. The second one being the investment professional of the future. The third one then, the future state of the investment product or solution. And finally, the future state of the asset owner. And you will find in this document a list of actionable items, action items under each of these topics. And there are 3 columns there. The first one is things that I can do myself. The second one is things that I think I can get my firm to do or get done at a company-wide level. And the final one is something that you believe that the industry should do. And we've got a couple of suggested work groups already that have been put there, but we also invite you to really come to us and say, please count me in on a work group on this particular topic or this work stream, so that we really take action in this. You know, the call, Let's Measure Up, is really a call to action. It is about, you know, let's get involved in actually creating the future that we require. Once again, this booklet is also available on our website, so for those that are not here and part of tonight, to actually engage, get involved in it. And maybe as you reflect on the year that was and think in terms of your own personal goals for 2019, forget that bit about joining the gym or stopping smoking or all of that. We know it only lasts until about the 6th of January. We've got a list here of things that you can really get involved. I believe these are all mad ideas. And mad ideas are ideas where you can make a difference. So I really want to encourage you to look through that, see what tickles your fancy, what sparks your interest, and where do you believe you can also make a difference in 2019 in terms of changing the future. I think one of the quotes that we've got here at the end of the book is the best way to predict the future is to create it. And that was Abraham Lincoln, but I think it's something that each of us can personally get involved in as well. So yeah, there you see. And the quote also by John E. Lewis, if not us, then who? If not now, then when? So I hope that you find some inspiration in this to take forward for 2019 and really, as I say, make a difference in it. But yes, that brings us to our Volunteer Recognition Award. So I would like, you are welcome to hand out the champagne, the bubbly for us, to each grab a glass as you celebrate with me the many things that we are extremely proud of and very chuffed with. And this is a celebration of our members. This is not just a celebration for the board to celebrate. The very first thing is that at the Society Leadership Conference in Hong Kong earlier this year, CFA Society South Africa was awarded the most outstanding society in the category of 900 to 2,000 society members. And I would invite you afterwards to come and have a look at that beautiful crystal trophy that we received on the night. This really is not an achievement of the current board. This really is an achievement of 17 years of board members, of volunteers who gave so selfishly of themselves to build up to what we are very proud of, and that is to be recognized globally as an excellent society in terms of what we've been able to achieve in our society and in our broader community. So yes, there was the most outstanding society, and then I'm a little bit blushing here. This is all Linda. She decided that this needs to go in there as well. I was extremely, extremely humbled to be awarded a Volunteer of the Year award at the same conference also. And I really have to thank the board and the executive office who put together and put forward the nomination for me. Oh, thank you very much. I will happily drink to that. Thank you very much. So really, I'm very humbled to have been serving the society in this capacity. And so thank you for allowing me to be awarded this Volunteer of the Year award also in Hong Kong. Next up, you will realize that so little of what you see happening around you happens because people do this as paid jobs. This is all about our volunteers, and we've got an amazing body of volunteers. And if you're not a volunteer just yet, I really would encourage you to become a volunteer for our society. And that includes also our members in countries outside of South Africa. We're really looking forward to engaging with ambassadors in the other countries also to establish a lot more of the tangible member value benefit. Our Career Services Committee, Jenny Henry being the chair of that committee, just look at that long list of volunteers. If I have to read through all of them, I think we're still going to be here by midnight, so I'm not going to read through each of those names, but you can see how many of our members are involved really in the career services, helping our members develop their professionality in their careers. The Public Awareness Committee, Roseanne Hayworth being the committee chair there, a nice and vibrant community also where they really raise the public awareness, engage on social media, and really just raise the profile and the brand of both CFA Society South Africa, but also the CFA Institute. Next up, we've got our Candidate Prep Committee. So Danny Simwayo was our chair of the Candidate Prep Committee over the last year, and you see an extensive long list of people there. It is because that's really where so much of the work in terms of building future professionals goes in. From intro sessions to candidate prep sessions to career days at schools, at universities, there's a lot of work that goes into that, and it's wonderful to see when you look at the photographs, for example, in our stakeholder guide, and you see the extent to which these volunteers engage, give up of their own time to passionately share with future professionals what it means to be a CFA charter holder and to be a member of the local society. Our Program Events Committee, Melville du Plessis, our chair of that particular committee, the program events is specifically events that qualify for continuing education credits, and in future, of course, will also be qualifying for CPD credits. There's quite a lot of work in the background going on around the new phase fit and proper requirements and the CPD credits. You'll be happy to hear, but we are now in a position where CFA Society South Africa events that have an educational content to them will also be CPD credited, and you can in that way earn your phase fit and proper required credits also through your CFA events. The Technology Committee, Tata Mashigo, chair of that committee for us. It was wonderful to see the extent to which we were able to introduce a lot more technology. There's lots more to be done, but Tata and his committee has really laid the foundation for us for what we see really as the major way in which we will be connecting and communicating with our members and our members amongst one another also in future. So I really want to also highlight a couple of the special projects that we've mentioned and some of the people that sat behind that. So the Financial Mail Young Analyst Award, you'll see the names of the people there. That was the award that was handed out at the Financial Mail event. I think it was in May or June of this year. So this really was a lot of work. This was volunteers that worked their way through countless, no, maybe not quite countless, but certainly dozens of analyst reports. This was really a labor of love, and I want to really commend the volunteers that were involved in this process. I believe that it is also hugely rewarding, and especially if you are either on the buy side or sell side, some of the feedback that we've received was, well, I never else have time to actually work through these reports in such detail, so I would recommend that if you want to sort of force yourself to learn more about certain sectors and certain industries, this is a great way to do that. Our next sort of specific one, the career days, you see some of the, did I skip over one of them? No, I didn't. There we go. University of Cape Town career days. Just look at how our volunteers are there actively engaging with interested parties, people who are maybe already studying towards a BCom or a BCom honours, investment management, accountancy, actuarial science, but increasingly also people who are studying in other disciplines, because I think more than anything else, we appreciate that the diversity in our industry also needs to come beyond just finance undergrads and investment undergrads. So a great way to engage with potential new members during these career days. These are some of the pictures from our University of Johannesburg career day that was held earlier this year also. University of Witwatersrand, again, lots of our volunteers there. And if it's something that you'd be interested to do in future, please, we'd love to have you along as a volunteer for CFA Society South Africa. The introductory sessions in Joburg and Cape Town, specifically sharing with people what it means to go through the CFA program, why you should do it. There's not a lot of reasons why you shouldn't do it, but certainly those intro sessions, very well attended and very important also for us in terms of promoting the awareness of the qualification. And as I said, our research challenge, really the special project that by far uses the most volunteers. And it is because we've got faculty staff at universities. We have got mentors who guide these teams through what is required to actually research a company, write a report, do a presentation on that company findings. The graders who have to evaluate the written reports, the judges who have to judge the presentations that are being given by these teams. It is an exceptional event and really something that I think not only are we very proud of it, but we do absolutely acknowledge and recognize the extent to which it helps with workplace readiness and really prepare many of these students for what it means to have a career in the investment industry. Our program Access Scholarship Review is another area where I think we've made incredible progress in the last year. CFA Institute allocates hundreds of scholarships every year, and this year they specifically asked us if we would please assist them, participate with them to help the selection and the allocation of these scholarships. And next week, I can tell you that we are very happy that next week there are 400 candidates across Southern Africa who will receive notification that they've received a scholarship to study towards the CFA program. Tata, I know that you put in a lot of effort in terms of that. Thank you for what you've done there. This is really an area where I think Africa really needs all the help that it can get. And CFA Institute is fully committed to helping African candidates really bridge what is a fairly substantial monetary divide in terms of being able to participate in this program. So there's the evidence of how they labored in terms of working their way through all of those scholarship applications. As I say, great collaborative efforts that we've done. The Investment Analyst Society in the middle this past year celebrated their 50th anniversary. They are effectively our parent organisation because CFA Society South Africa was born out of the Investment Analyst Society, and to this day we remain very closely associated with them. And Cabot Arletshauser, who heads up the Alexander Forbes Research Institute, is also a member of the Advisory Council of CFA Institute Future of Finance Work Group. And so Anne has become a very important link for us around the Future of Finance initiatives. Anne also is the convening editor of the Collective Insight publication, and it was one of our major collaborations this past year with APSIP as well as Fin Week, where we put together our four events this past year, roundtable discussions around the Collective Insights publication. Thomson Reuters has been a great partner. I guess in future they will be referred to as Refinitiv rather than Thomson Reuters, but they bring a lot of technology enablement also for us too, especially around our events and our conferences with their Convene app. So these are just some of the institutions and parties with which we've been able to collaborate. And that brings me, I think now we first need to actually have a bit of a drink. Let's just celebrate all of those successes before we go to the specific volunteer awards that I'm happy to pronounce. So yes, to CFA Society South Africa, to you, our members, to our volunteers, thank you, and I hope you enjoy and bask in the glory of our successes that we have collectively achieved over the last year. Cheers to everyone. Ching ching. I'll have to click with my own glass. There we go. Right, so this brings me to two specific awards that I've got the privilege of awarding tonight. We have got, for the first time, we have got a long service volunteer award, which I'll go into just now. And then we have a brand new 2018 Volunteer of the Year award. It's the first time that we're awarding it in this category. And you'll see up here, we've got our two beautiful trophies. Don't you think they're just absolutely gorgeous? Our beaded African trophies. The Long Service Award trophy will be awarded. And the Volunteer of the Year award is a floating trophy. So whoever gets that award tonight, you are allowed to hold it for a year, but then you've got to give it back, because I'm sure there are lots of other volunteers who would be vying very hard to be awarded the Volunteer of the Year award next year. So our Long Service Volunteer Award. You know, this was not a difficult one to award. Arthur Thompson founded the society. So Arthur Thompson in 2001 created the CFA Society South Africa, as I say, out of the Investment Analyst Society. And over these years, Arthur was the president of the society for the first 10 years. I think no one else wanted to do the job. Arthur was doing such a great job. But for 10 years, Arthur was our president. In 2010, he then became the President's Council representative for the EMEA East region. So he remained a member on the board of CFA Society South Africa, but for 4 years really was more of a volunteer to the global community, and in particular the EMEA East community, as the President's Council representative. And after stepping down from that role, he once again still remained on the board and has up until now been on the board of CFA Society South Africa for 17 years. Unfortunately, Arthur his health has taken a serious turn for the worse. And he's unfortunately not here with us tonight to receive the award in person. We will make sure that he gets it. This was not the ideal conditions under which we wanted to thank Arthur for his contribution to CFA, to the society. And it's certainly also not the way in which we wanted to say goodbye to him. But Arthur is still around, and Arthur will be for a long time. So there's a beautiful award here, which we will deliver to Arthur as he's currently recuperating from a major health issue. So in his absence, Arthur, cheers. Thank you. That's Arthur. Right, yes, thank you, Dane. I think that's a wonderful idea. Which brings me to our Volunteer of the Year, the Measuring Up Award. Now, those of you that paid attention when you saw the names of all the different committees and all the different areas, there was one name that really was replicated across many, if not most, of those volunteer events. It's not difficult not to see him. He does carry stature with him, not just in terms of physical size, but certainly in terms of the contribution that he has made to our society. So, JD, it is my pleasure to award to you the Volunteer of the Year Award for 2018. I can assure you that it is extremely well deserved. JD has really been a stalwart in our volunteer community, and that's why I am particularly pleased, hot off the press, to announce to you that because Arthur had to step down from the board very suddenly, JD was already a nominee to become a member of the board during our most recent nominee process, and just narrowly missed out on being invited to join the board. And therefore, it's my pleasure to announce that at our board meeting held earlier today, JD was chosen to be invited to join the board of CFA Society South Africa as a board member, and I'm happy to say that he has accepted. So, JD, thank you very much, and the work's about to start now. Cheers. And that really brings us to the conclusion of the formal part of the proceedings tonight. We invite you now to share something to eat with us. If you are here in the room, to have some more drinks. Those of you who have been online, thank you very much for joining us. We hope that you got some sense of the pride that we feel and how much we have to celebrate tonight. Thank you for being part of the community of CFA Society South Africa. And let's continue measuring up in 2019. Cheers.